And that, ladies and gentlemen, opens up this episode of Humans Anonymous. Thank you for joining us. Us? Me? It is just me. This will be my first true solo episode. It's weird. It's weird being out here alone. So this is something that me and Amaria decided we're going to do from time to time. Obviously, normally it's me and her up here, or me and a guest. This is the first time I've been here solo. But one thing that we've been talking about lately is our feelings. And we always encourage you guys on here to talk about things, to express your feelings. And, if you go back and watch that episode with Richard Oberberner, a lot of it is about expressing our feelings. And I think that's very important. And so from time to time, me and Amaria are going to hop on here and do a little solo episode and kind of just tell you guys what we've been feeling lately, what we've been thinking, what's been on our minds, what we've been working on, going through, dealing with. So she's not here today. And I don't know how I'm going to make it without her, but we're going to try. We're going to see how this goes. So thank you again for joining us. Episode 17 of Humans Anonymous. My name is Landon, and I'm excited to... Here we go. Thank you for watching or listening, wherever you are watching or listening. If you want to hear more about us or see more about us, you can head over to our website, www.mwah.net. That's MWAH.net. That stands for messages which are hopeful messages. That is what our program is all about here, as well as over there with Moi. And so we carry that message in everything that we do and everything that we say out here. So let's get into it, I guess. 23andMe is ruining my life. I think that this is probably something that I'm the only one that suffered from. So let's talk about it. So my entire life, my mother was under the impression that we were Cherokee Native American. Now I know you probably already see where this is going, but I'm going to continue. So we were raised thinking that we were part Cherokee Native American, and it became kind of a part of us and a part of who we are and who we were growing up. All of us are very white in the winter, but we brown up very quickly in the summer. And all of us were born with brown eyes. I have 7 brothers and sisters, and we were all born with brown eyes. And so we all have dark hair. The kind of characteristics followed. And so we all just assumed that it was true. And then a year or two ago, my brother Micah did 23andMe, and we found out we are 0% Native American. And I think about that all the time. Now, I don't know if anybody else listening has ever dealt with this before, but does it make me any less Native American? I mean, I carried that for a long time. I repped that flag. I went out to a Native reservation on a mission trip one time and helped in the Native American reservation community. And I felt like I was helping my people out. And so it was interesting to find out that they're not my people. I'm Irish and German, very Irish and German, very German. But I just thought I'd bring that up, go out there, see if anybody else's world has been flipped upside down a bit, because that was something crazy. This technology, it can be a good thing, but I don't know. Maybe I would have rather just gone my whole life thinking that I was Native American, because now I feel like a cheater, maybe? I don't know, but this is something I thought I'd bring up. Let's see here. What have I been thinking about lately? I've been dealing with this phrase that we use in recovery a lot, called self-will. Now, this is obviously not just something for inside recovery, but we talk about it a lot in recovery, because every day, personally, I have to fight that self-will. Now, what does that mean exactly? Well, for me, self-will means doing whatever I want, regardless of what's best or what the repercussions may be. Self-will is something that I've been fighting a lot lately. It's something that if I let self-will take over, I end up heading down a path where decisions are made, things are done, where my life heads in a different trajectory. And it doesn't all happen so quickly. I was at a meeting the other day, and we were talking about self-will and just mentioning like it sneaks in the little things, in the, I'm not going to make my bed today because I don't want to, even though I know I should make my bed today. And so it seems to creep in those little ways. And so identifying those early on is something that I've been working on and trying to nip in the bud, but it's been a little bit tough for me. And I don't think I'm the only one who struggles with that, but it's been a little bit tough because I see it appearing in small ways all the time. I feel like I'm constantly trying to take that will back, even though I know that if I don't rely on what I know works, I'm going to fail. I still keep trying to figure out different ways to get from A to B. I've lived long enough to know myself pretty well and know what works with me. And I still tend to make decisions doing things that I know won't work for me because I want to be right. I want to be able to say, no, I did it a different way and it worked. And I don't know exactly why that is. Maybe that's just the alcoholic in me or the addict, but I've been struggling with that. Not struggling in the sense of I don't know what to do, but it's just hard some days to commit to using all of the tools that we have in our tool bag to fight that self-centeredness, that selfishness, the self-deprivation, woe is me, getting stuck in that pit. We have to try to lift ourselves out of there. We can't, stay down. But some days I want to just pull the covers over my head. Some days I don't want to do things the way that I know that I need to do them to work, the way that they've worked before, and so that's something I've really been working on lately and trying to just nail it down to the littlest things. Get up on time, continue to do things that progress your life forward instead of, don't get me wrong. It's important to take some time off every once in a while. It's important to make sure that you are healthy and that your energy meter, that your self-care meter is full. It's very important. But don't get stuck. Don't get stuck in a mindset where you aren't moving forward. Rest, keep your mindset moving forward, and then move forward with your feet. But what we tend to do, or rather I should say what I tend to do, is get stuck in the mindset of I failed because I didn't do it today, because I took a day off from whatever that is, took a day off from working out, or took a day off from working on podcasting, or took a day off from taking the kids to the park, even though it was nice. I feel like a failure, and I tend to assign a failure to an end. I tend to assign failure to this end. Like I tried something, I failed, it didn't work, that's it. But that's not the case. Failure is just the beginning of the next part. Failure is just a different starting point. And that's something that I have to remind myself all the time, because it's very, very easy for me to slip right back into that thinking of, I failed and my life is over. Like I can't come back from this. I can't do it right. Well, I didn't do it right, but now I can figure out how to do it right. Now I know one more way to do it wrong, so I'm not going to do it that way next time. And so it's hard to get out of that mindset for me sometimes of feeling like I've missed the pitch. Like I am just batting zeros. Because even if I'm only hitting, once a week, if I'm hitting hard enough, then it doesn't matter. As long as you're trying, as long as you're swinging, you have to every day commit to that, obviously. But as long as you are trying, no one can fault you for that. And you're the only one who knows if you're really, truly trying hard enough. And so I have to check myself on that as well. Am I giving it 100%? Am I being lazy? And I have to check myself on that a lot, because I tend to say, oh, I did a good job, I'm done. Well, you did a good job, but could you have done better? Could you have given a little more? Could you have stayed a little longer? Could you have played a little harder? So don't cheat yourself, because at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. And regardless if anybody else knows whether you cheated or didn't give 100%, or saw something happen and should have stepped in but didn't. Nobody else is going to know that except for you, and you're going to have to live with yourself at the end of the day. Rather I should say I have to live with myself at the end of the day if I make those decisions. If I do things that I know aren't part of the plan, and you have to come up with a plan. Don't let your life be willy-nilly. And that I do say you, not I. Please, this is, advice. This is my plea to you. Don't let decisions be made flippantly. Commit because you know what you're standing on. Have a plan, have an idea of this is what I want for my life, and these are the steps I have to take. And so once you get there, finally after years of, going through recovery, I'm finally at a point where I can say, I have this plan. I want to do this. This is where I want things to go. And these are the steps that I need to take. And now daily I have to struggle with, am I doing everything that I can? Are you working hard enough? Are you spending too much time at work and not enough time at home with your family? Are you doing the things you love enough? Are you doing them too much? And so there's constantly this pull between all of these different worlds. And, that was another thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, because it's something that I feel like, especially people at a young age, really feel is, I often feel confused on what to do because I'm being pulled in different directions. I feel like it's hard sometimes to find where I fit in because I want to do it all, for lack of a better way of saying it. And then I get burnt out. Then I get really burnt out. And then I can't do anything. And I'm always worried about what if I'm not doing the right thing, or what if I'm not doing enough. And I feel like we can often get pulled in a lot of different directions because we oftentimes listen to other people's opinions too much. And I think that that's something that has come in with, and I mean, obviously it's been, people have always thought too deeply of other people's opinions. It's not new, but in the age of social media, it's very loud and in your face how much people, in some cases, depend on other people's approval. And that's something that I struggle with, not necessarily on social media, but in life, I struggle with. I don't want to say no to anybody. I want to please everybody. I want to look good to everybody. So I don't want anyone to see the bad parts of me. This podcast is kind of hard for me because I don't want to talk about the things I've been struggling with. I don't want to talk about the things that are hard for me. I want to talk about where I'm succeeding. I want to talk about all of the great things. I want to talk about my daughters. I don't want to talk about me, let's talk about the good thing that came from me. Let's not talk about the fact that I struggle daily with depression. Let's not talk about the fact that I struggle daily with, wanting to distance myself from everyone and everything because it's overwhelming. I don't think it's uncommon. I think that there's a lot of people out there that feel like that, but I also think there's a lot of people out there like me who've cut themselves off from everybody or tried to or are trying to because it's overwhelming. And life gets overwhelming at times, and I know it does for everybody, but man, it feels like it especially does for me. I know that's not true. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way, but life gets overwhelming, and I have to remember that this is right where I'm supposed to be. That I am enough no matter what anybody says. I am enough. I'm enough because I know I'm enough. I don't have to have anybody tell me I'm enough, and I don't believe that every day. And it took me a long time to even believe that at all. But I'm finally at a point now where I do get to believe that, where I do get to see that I'm enough, despite all of the flaws, despite sometimes I yell and freak out. Sometimes I slam the doors. And it's ugly, but that's life. That doesn't mean that I'm not worthy of love or respect or care or help. It doesn't mean that you have to figure it out yourself because you're bad. It just means that it's probably time to, do something different. And that's what I'm trying to do every day. Do something different because I still do all of those things, because I still am flawed, because I'm still human. I have to try every day to do something differently, because every day something will come along that'll give me the excuse to be upset, to be sad, to feel pity on myself. And I have to stop and think, evaluate the situation, and then revisit it. Because I know me well enough to know that I don't know anything. And I know that sounds crazy, but I know me well enough to know when to stop. And again, that's not even every day. Sometimes I don't. But I try to do something different. I try to stop. I try to think. Because I tend to go into situations with this idea of how they should go. And then when they don't go a certain way, I freak out. I lose my mind. And I was thinking about the other day, like, why do I lose my mind? And it all circles back to, I feel like I failed because I didn't get it to go a certain way that I thought was the correct way. And so accepting myself today is very important. I've got a lot of flaws that I hate and that I could pick apart and look at for a long time. And I do sometimes. I take those out of my back pocket and I'll read through them and flip through them and feel bad about it, come up with a plan and put some work in. And then some days when it doesn't work out, I lose it all again. I freak out and I got to look through again and take inventory. But I don't know. I had a poem. This is a little bit off topic. It's a little bit different, but there's a poem I wanted to share on here as well. And it kind of talks about fatherhood a little bit. I was raised by a very loving father, but I don't think that he was raised by someone who showed him a lot of love when he was young. Obviously, I've met my grandfather before he passed away, and he was wonderful. He had turned his life over to God and was sober. But I know that my father struggled simultaneously with his father in addiction and alcoholism. And so I know that his childhood was somewhat rough for him. And so I think that that's, a lot of people's experience around my age. Our parents didn't come from a time where parents were worried about their children's mental health so much, and so this poem kind of got to me a little bit. And so I kind of wanted to share it just in case anybody else out there felt that way. Because this is, I don't know, it's just good. I'll just read it. And this is, it's a poem by Nikita Gill. In another universe, I meet my father when he is a child. We play catch in the woods. As we play, he tells me he isn't allowed to cry, but sometimes the world hurts him, and he doesn't know what to do with all that pain. So I give him the shoulder he needs to cry on, and he does. He does until the tears are done. Afterwards, I buy him ice cream, and I listen to his laugh, the glowing, warm laugh of a child who knows he is safe. I wish someone could have done that for him. Been a kind, soft place for the child he used to be? Would it have made a difference? Would it have made a difference? And that speaks to me as a father volumes because, like I said, I struggle daily with a lot of things, and one of them is anger. I have a lot of pent up anger. And so daily I struggle with not letting my kids see that side of me, and I fail a lot. I fail a lot. And I have that father in my life now. Thankfully, gratefully, I do have that father in my life now. And I'm very grateful for both of my parents. But it makes me really evaluate things a little bit differently, because I know the impact that my father had on me. I know the impact that his words and actions had on me. And so why would I not think that my actions have the same impact on my children? So, and none of us are going to be perfect. I feel like our kids are going to remember the good and the bad parts, no matter what we try to do. We don't know until we learn. And parenting is one of those things you got to learn a lot of stuff. You can't just know it all from the bat. So thought that was a good poem, a good encouragement to me to continue to evaluate my efforts as a father and be that shoulder to cry on for my children. So I guess the big takeaway from that would just be for me to remember that my dad probably didn't have what I have now in him and my mom, and that support and what that can do to a child. It was powerful to me, I guess. And maybe nobody else will relate to that one, but yeah. Sorry about that. Well, I told you this episode was going to be crazy. Knew it was going to be crazy. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and close it up. I appreciate anybody who stayed along this late to listen to me rant about my problems. You guys were my counselor today. I appreciate it. Once again, if you are interested in anything else that we are doing, we travel around to schools and we bring this message of hope as well as our stories as we do that. So if you're interested in having us come out to an event or come out to a school, you can head to our website, www.moi.net, or you can just go there to check out more about us and what we do. Other than that, I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Until next time, when we see you here at Humans Anonymous. Thank you.